Yay!
You're back.
Awesome. Okay,
Nice.
so guess what? I think that this is number 11.
Number 11. Oh my God. That
Yeah,
that's like the most spiritual number out there, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah. So, welcome to
Oh my God.
Heartsline podcast number 11 with Vlada, part two. You ready to do this again?
What an honor. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. I think it's really funny how last time there were so many like technical difficulties. My tripod fell on me at one point. So it's just
Mm.
like the progression of the podcast. So hopefully it goes more smoothly for this one.
Right. Right. You mean last time during the 10th one or the last time that we had
Last
um
time you and
oh,
I were on.
okay, okay, uh-huh. And what number was that?
I have to check. It wasn't too long ago. I think maybe episode 8.
Okay, wow. Okay, great. 8 and
Yeah,
11.
I believe so. Yeah, two good
Hmm.
numbers. Um,
Yeah.
so so tell us where you're at right now.
So right now I don't know how to creatively describe it, but I'm in Paris. Um, I arrived here 2 days ago, and I'm going to spend some time here, probably a few weeks until January. And yeah, it's definitely not the best time of the year in terms of like temperature. Is so freaking cold here because I arrived
Oh
from
yeah.
and the day I left Barcelona, it, I think the temperature was going to be like 20 degrees. I arrived here and it's like 1 degree. Fuck. I mean,
Oh
I
gosh.
don't, I don't know in Fahrenheit how like what's the conversion like, but it's yeah, like to 0 degrees you already see like snow. So yeah, it's not easy to be here during colder months, but it's still pretty. Um, and you have less tourists, so I guess it's better to visit all those museums now instead of like in May
Mm,
or June because it's so packed with people.
uh-huh.
Like this is one of the most touristy places on this planet. So
Yeah. What have you
I'm
done
quite
so far that you've been there? Anything or just settling in still?
so. Yesterday I went to get myself a coat because mine was too light for for the temperature, and yeah, the coat is supposed to keep me really warm, the one I got, and then I met a friend who coincidentally works not really far from where I'm staying at right now,
Mm.
and then we went to this place, to this pub, or how do you call it? No,
Mm,
it's
yeah.
it's more like a small venue for musicians to perform,
Hmm.
and that was basically the last place where Jim Morrison performed before dying.
Oh wow, okay. So
Yeah,
it's historical.
yeah, and I'm so glad that I coincidentally ended up there because I love being in these spots that carry a certain historical weight, historical meaning to them. So for me, it's like, yes. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
so. Mhm.
I was just going to say I grew up not far from Venice Beach, California, and he used to live there. So there's a mural of him on the wall. It's huge. And then
Oh,
I also went recently up to this rock that
uh-huh.
it's like kind of like a rock cave you climb up into. And I guess
Oh,
he used to hang out there. So
oh,
I've been two places he's been.
Cool, cool. Yeah, it's crazy how how like these artists that impacted the culture, like how they've been going around like doing so many things, and it's yeah, like being in the same places as they were is like kind of getting into um, like into the same energy as they are. I don't know how to define it, but for me it's still cool. It feels like I'm embodying a little bit of their energy when I'm in that same
Yeah.
spot.
Yeah. So let me back up a little bit. How did you decide and how did you end up in Paris anyway?
Good question. Good question. Like in the last, so last time that we had the podcast, it was in Turin, and after that I was going to. Oh my God. Yeah, I think I traveled a lot after that time because we talked in, was it like August or September? So yeah, I think it was like early September because after that I went to volunteer for Teal's events,
Oh, yes.
and yeah, I went to Barcelona, to Rome, to Amsterdam, and I ended up on stage both
Oh, you
times. Like,
did?
yes,
No way.
yes, and
Wow.
um,
That's huge.
I mean, not because no, but not because I raised my hand. It was
You
just
were
for the
lighting up. Your
um,
energy was lighting up. It was very
no,
strong.
not
No.
because I raised my
Oh,
hand. No, it was for like the to show how to do some exercises. So I was just
oh,
like
okay.
one of the people that was showing how to.
You
Um,
volunteered.
yeah, and um, yeah, it was a cool experience for me. I would do it 10 times more, let's say, and. Um,
Awesome.
yeah, I don't know how much I can say about that because there was a mess around the organization of the
Oh,
event, but it wasn't Teal's fault. But yeah,
yeah.
I cannot even see the workshop. Like I don't know if the workshops will be posted because well the hosts that had to organize the event, they kind of disappeared out in the like outer spaces. So I don't know if the workshops will be available like to watch on
Oh,
premium.
okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
I heard there's a lot of, logistical stuff and yeah.
yeah. So, but it was still cool, to travel and to see Teal is like my favorite things ever, and to connect with like interesting people um, that travel like from across the globe just to go to a Teal's event. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, like
Did
I
you
met this girl that, hmm?
Oh, go
like
ahead.
like I met this girl that had just came back from Indonesia, because Teal's event was like the perfect excuse for her to come back, and it's crazy the amount of people um, that these events like it's crazy how different the backgrounds of these people are which you can meet at these events. So for me it's always really inspiring to to be part of this.
I know what you mean. Yeah. That's what I was going to ask. Like, did you meet anyone very interesting? Like, with, I don't know, who's the most interesting person you feel like you met?
Mm, so one cool thing that happened was that I got to meet this girl I was chatting with online, but it felt
Mhm.
like we were already friends online,
Mhm.
and Teal's event was like the perfect occasion for us to meet in person.
Mhm.
So that was cool. That was cool. And then we went from Rome, from the Rome event. Then we met. No, we actually went together to the Amsterdam one. So that
Mhm.
was a cool follow up.
Yeah.
And then I met many other people that also are in a similar situation as I am, but they knew what kind of insights to give me, and yeah, I think my life got enriched after each workshop. Um, I just love to see when these webs of connections are created. I feel like
Mhm.
this is the only thing that keeps me sane.
Yeah.
Like if it wasn't for this sense of belonging that's created through
Mhm.
these events, I think I would be lost. Like I would be
Mhm.
completely lost because the circumstances seem to be leading towards more disconnection instead
Mhm.
of um, this this sense of belonging, which truly makes you feel like you're going somewhere, like there is a mission, indeed.
Yeah. Well, you don't feel alone because I have a lot of friends outside of like Teal, but I think once I started meeting you guys, the tribe, for real though, I just feel like I don't feel alone and I don't feel weird. It makes you feel like you belong, like you said, with these people, and it does give you hope. And yeah, just knowing you're not the only one.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. And I also think that it's better to have um, to have friends outside of these circles only,
Mm.
'cause
Oh yeah.
otherwise it becomes like too closed. And
Yeah.
but it's good to expand because this makes me think of like of those communities where they isolated themselves from society.
Cult.
They're not really helping society, even if they might think that they're doing something
Oh yeah.
good, wise, but you still have to be connected to your environment
Hmm.
because that's the only way of actually, like healing, like raising the consciousness or whatever. But it's important to, um, yeah, to meet people outside the circles. And in
Hmm.
fact, for me, um, it was surprising when I met like many people that weren't into teal that actually like shared this common sense as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I recently met a friend of a friend, and it's so refreshing to see like how open her mind is. Like, I don't know if she's spiritual or not, but we like agree on so much, even though we're very different. And yeah, so that's awesome too. And I truly do think that our it's so like cliche, but our vibe is just attracting our tribe.
Yeah.
Like, and so like I noticed I've been happier with the people I'm lining up with now,
Yeah. Oh
just all
yeah.
around outside of Teal.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Also because if you're like too into teal, there might you might find like people that have that need like therapy, like serious therapy. Well, if you meet people outside, it's good um, to see how that translates into actual practicality. So you meet people that might use different terms, might use yeah, different terminology, but they share the same concept at the end, because at the end it's all about like common sense, like how do we live as human beings.
Hmm.
Uh, how do we cooperate? How do we live harmoniously? So
Hmm.
yeah.
I wanted to ask you, how's it going with school? Are you almost done?
Yes, I mean, now I'm working on my thesis, which is the
Mhm.
reason why why I decided to travel aimlessly. Well, I'm not kidding, it's not aimless, but at least now I got the excuse of my thesis. Um,
Mhm.
so I would graduate, I think in April, March, April,
Mhm.
and since that is my priority, the location I'm in is not like for me. It's not that fundamental right now to stop in a place. I'm okay with traveling, with like meeting different types of people and different mentalities. So maybe my thesis will become more interesting. Um,
Mhm.
and, yeah, but I'm still at the beginning
What
of my
what is
thesis.
Sorry, sorry to cut you off. What is your thesis on? Do you know?
So um, I'm still at the beginning of it, and it
Mhm.
should be about like the impact of AI on like language
Mhm.
learning, or just like the impact of technology on like language learning. Why language learning? Because I'm a
Mhm.
language. So the teacher was like, "Why don't you talk about your job and integrate that with my topic?" Because he teaches like media education and like the impact of technology on today's
Mhm.
world. So yeah, the idea was to interview like different students
Mhm.
about their experiences,
Mhm.
and also like maybe getting into the impact of AI over like their jobs. But yeah, we're still at the beginning of it, so
Mhm.
it hasn't we haven't arrived at a like defined um
Yeah, it makes sense.
yeah, but seems interesting, and yeah, I would love to
Hmm.
see what
Extremely
comes out.
interesting
Mm-hmm.
right now because it's unknown still.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, this would be considered as an experimental thesis, like a
Mhm.
research type of thesis. So it's like an open question at the end. It's like we'll see. After all this research, we'll see what's going to come out of that.
Well, as soon as you mentioned this, I'm sure you know, but I immediately thought of Neuralink, like the chip that they're going to put in our brain, and how that would affect you learning a language because
Oh,
uh,
yeah.
supposedly, supposedly, I don't know if it's exactly Neuralink or something else, but you will be able to listen to someone speaking to you in a foreign language and it will be
Mm,
translating.
yeah, I think that would be effective, let's say.
Uh,
I
it
mean,
sounds
yeah,
like a
that
movie or something.
yeah, I mean that's something I could mention in my thesis. Definitely. I have to do more research in that, so maybe
Mhm.
next time we can talk about that as well.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know a whole lot about it either. That's just something I've heard being discussed because I think it's something that it sounds very desirable. But how do you feel? Yeah, not personally though, really for me.
Mm,
How do you feel about that? Like integrating with AI, like actually like permanently like in your brain, like chipped.
mm. I mean, I don't know how to think about it. Like, I know that there are some things that, like, of our brains that can be improved. So,
Hmm.
mm, I mean, this is, like the evergreen, how do you call it? Like the evergreen question type of thing, um, because because yeah, like from one side, I understand that AI can be dangerous if it's not handled well, but on the other side, I mean, it's unavoidable that is going to take over. So how do we like what kind of relationship do we want to create with that? And in terms of installing a microchip in our brain, yeah, um, I think like with time we will just take for granted certain things. So we won't appreciate and value um, um, like someone that like the capacity of someone to learn different languages by themselves. It won't be as impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know how to feel about this because yeah, one side of me like would jump on board with it because like of course wouldn't I want to become faster, smarter? Um,
Oh gosh, I'm sorry. I don't know what that was.
oh my God, what happened?
I just heard something really loud hit the
You
side
can
of the
check.
house. Whew. Okay, sorry, I'm a little scared. I'm like, what is that?
You can go check.
Vlada, why is there something every time we were on? Like, what was that, Blue? I'm like, do I want to go out there? Okay, 1 second. Let me.
Yes, I'll
I'm
be here.
curious. I don't think that was a cat. That sounded loud. Did you hear it?
You can take the camera and we can go explore.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Just uh, give me a couple seconds.
Yeah, sure, sure.
Oh wow. Okay. It's I'm sorry. It's really dark out there, and it started downpouring. But I don't know
Oh,
what that was. It's okay. I'll figure it out later.
oh my God. Okay.
Sorry. That
Let's hope
just
it's
okay.
yeah. No, it's fine.
Gonna have
Yeah.
to edit this in unless I want to keep that in. Whew, probably not. Okay. Anyway, so uh, for me, it feels a bit permanent to literally have surgery and put this object in my brain. Like, what if
Yeah.
something goes wrong? Okay, just
What can go
cut
wrong with
it
it?
out. Yeah, and then it's in your brain. I don't know. I
Um,
understand the benefits for certain like neurological disorders. Um, if it can really improve your life, but that's up to someone who has that kind of disorder. I don't, so I don't know. I
yeah.
wouldn't do it personally. I wouldn't do it.
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking about it like in a more abstract way, but when it comes to like actually having surgery, so having like your skull like open, like I'm not doing it, like
Mm-hmm.
I would just wait a few years before
Oh, that
indeed,
too. Yeah.
you know, because I'm sure many people will do it.
Oh yeah.
Because I guess the idea of it is so promoted in the mainstream that yeah, like many people wouldn't think twice, wouldn't even think before doing that. So we'll see how this will impact humanity.
Well, there's
Just
there's already people who volunteered to get the chip implanted like in their wrist, literally just to open doors quicker and like I maybe make purchases. But there were people lined up who were ready to be the first ones. Like they volunteered.
oh my God. I wonder what the quality of their lives are. you know? Like I would like to take every person and see like how their lives are, what's
They,
their like well-being.
I believe that they're in Europe somewhere. I need to find that video again. But that would be amazing if you somehow could get in contact with them. It might be hard, but I don't know. You never know.
Yeah.
Like if you try to find out like where that originated from, and or you could, yeah, I'm going to find that video and see if there's any more information in it.
Yeah, but still, I think it's just perverse. Like it's just bluntly perverse to jump on board with having such a drastic surgery. Like
Yeah.
this is not like it just is getting crazier and crazier, and so it's like so important to get more grounded, more in touch with your body, with instead of like rationalizing everything, because I also have this tendency, right? But I realize it, so I want like in order to not get like swept off like into this realm of ideas of what could be done, it's important to ground yourself first,
Oh yeah.
so you don't get to make dumb decisions like that. So yeah, it would be interesting, but yeah, I don't think it will take long until we see it, like all these people walking around us, you know. Hopefully not.
How would you feel going to someone's house who had like a robot in their house?
Um, I mean, what do we like? I don't want to demonize robots because like they can be useful indeed. It's all about the relationship that you create with these devices, or how do you call them? Like they can be useful as long as you don't delegate your thought process to them. Like the humane quality, like it has to stay inside of you instead of delegating everything to to them,
Mm-hmm.
because this makes you lazy, and if you're lazy, someone else will need to operate to do all this work for you instead, and uh, we need to understand how technology works, uh, according to which like according to which system it operates, and we need to know how we can create a symbiotic relationship with it instead of
Mm-hmm.
playing with it. um, I don't know.
Well, yeah. I think that would, I'm fine with that, but I think when it comes to like actually merging with the intelligence because we as humans are inferior, that's the part that I don't like. I wish that we really could just like with
Yeah,
our phones, like we are technically kind of droids just because we, let's face it, we're glued to our phones. Like it's kind of a part of us in a way.
yeah,
Like we
yeah,
have it, right? So it's almost like a limb, and like when
yeah,
it's not there, you're like, where is it? But when it comes to like altering our body with technology, like unless it's absolutely necessary, you know, it just, to me, it just, that doesn't seem right. Like, so, like what are we going to do about all the new, like what are the laws and rules going to be? Like how old do you have to be before you get chipped? Like do you
yeah.
have to be an adult? Like, it's just so much is going to happen very rapidly.
Oh yeah, definitely. And yeah, that's true that we are getting used to the idea of having access to it so easily that we might alter our nature or do certain things that and that in our mind is going to improve our performance, overall performance, but um, it's not actually necessary. Like we're just lazy in that sense. Uh,
Yeah.
because I mean it's awesome when somebody that's like doesn't have like half a leg, for example, and when they can replace that with like an artificial leg. I mean that's great, that's necessary. But
Mhm.
nowadays we have too much, like we don't know how to use all these tools, so we're just end up making certain choices that I don't think are beneficial long term. Not even like short term, like it's an illusion. But yeah, in the long term, it's yeah, I don't feel like a lot of the alterations are necessary. We just need to get in touch with our bodies first.
Hmm. Oh yeah, see, I really love the point you're making about it will make us lazy because you're right. We just need to get back to even I feel like we're not even being embodying ourselves as humans enough
Yeah,
with the
yeah,
way that our society is, especially here in the U.S. and I know a lot of other places too. It's just such a fast society, and
mm,
it's so hard for people to even work all day because 8 hours is really like 10 or 11 depending on your commute, and or even 12. It's supposed to be 8 hours. It's not, it's more.
mm,
So
mm,
we're like, everyone is struggling, like we're all
yeah,
like exhausted, like trying to keep up with the
yeah,
demand and trying to do it all. um and I think that kind of puts you in this like almost like, I don't know, you can't be in your body fully, like, and be
yeah.
present.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, so I think you're right, like, you know I just don't see any benefit in losing any of our humanity. And again, like
Yeah,
I'm saying, I'm not judging people. Like, if people want to do it, um that's cool, but I don't know. I don't know. Not everyone will. Not everyone will. But hopefully, like, by the time we're gone, hopefully, like, the new generations, like, they might just be jumping on it because that might be like what they think or not. So we'll have to see.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, the point we're making is that basically we're not embodying like our bodies first, like our like what we were given first. Like even Teal, she was mentioning that um, the future of psychology is going more and more towards like somatic therapy.
Oh yeah.
So I think that would be really healing because I don't know if I attracted these kind of people, but I notice more and more that we're like so much in our heads. Like
Yes.
we're
Yeah.
we're not in our bodies anymore. And
Mhm.
that's scary because we are dissociated.
Yeah.
And if we are dissociated, we live in a realm of like endless possibilities, but like it's
But nothing getting done.
yeah, yeah, or like too much is getting done, like certain drastic interventions. Like I believe that like if someone needs to make a decision of that sort, they need to be grounded first. Like that's what I
Oh
see
yeah.
already. like you need to be lucid, because if you're not lucid, you're going to regret these kind of decisions long term. And yeah, I don't think we're lucid at all. We think we we want to recreate um, artificially something that we would feel naturally if we only learned how to be in touch with the feeling itself. So yeah, like we we have access to all of these emotions that we're craving and that we want to recreate artificially. We just don't know how to we don't know how to get back in touch with them. So we do these drastic interventions so we can temporarily like feel like we're getting somewhere meaningful, but it's not. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think it's I don't know, it's going to be a very interesting paper. I'm really excited. I want to read it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be also in video format, so we'll
Oh,
see.
nice. Yeah, that'd be so cool.
Yeah, because I need to interview people, so.
Awesome. Do it for sure. So what should we go into now? We talked about AI. Anything on your mind that you want to discuss?
So, well, yeah, well, since I'm here in Paris, I was thinking of, well, not since I'm here in Paris, but since we were talking about embodying, like getting back in touch with the body, I was thinking of going back to do some dancing, because that's great. That's great to root yourself down, to rechannel, let's say, all the abstract, to translate it into like a concrete thing. And yeah, I love the idea of it, because wait, I need to. So I'm doing my thesis on psychology right now, and after that, I don't think I'm going to like become a psychologist or a therapist for now, because that would be too heavy for me right now. So I feel like I need to find my joy first. Like I can help people by having my cup filled, like my cup full first. So maybe in the future I can like become a therapist, like many years from now. But I think it's important to learn how to fill your cup, and because I might help people more by being joyous myself, instead of directly like offering a service of therapy or something.
Yeah, you'll be leading by example,
Yeah.
and that's the best way to lead.
Yeah.
And I know what you mean. I've also thought of the same thing. I wanted to jump into a master's program and become a therapist. A year ago, I thought about it, and I changed my mind for several reasons, but I also have the same thought. Like, that is a career you can do later in life. You're only going to get more and more wisdom and knowledge and experience to help people. So that is what's cool about it. Like, you can have a whole career or two, and then you can still do that.
Yeah. So you studied also you studied psychology?
It wasn't my major. So
Uh-huh.
my major, I only took well, I did take psychology, but my major was the study of crime. And
Uh-huh.
so,
Right.
yeah, but I did a lot, like all the work I did was kind of psychology based because
Uh,
that's what interested me.
yeah.
So it's almost like I took psychology just in a different way. I was
Mm,
relating like substance abuse disorders and like poverty and all these things. So that's kind of what
mm,
I studied. And then I did learn that you can also get a master's in social work and then be
mm,
a licensed clinical social worker. That's actually what my therapist is right now.
mm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's like one other route you could go, besides, having to do it in psychology, which I wouldn't mind, but it's just another way.
Right. Yes, yes. I feel like um it's what I want to do as well. Like when I first enrolled to university, it was like political science because I didn't know, I had no idea of where I wanted to go,
Mhm.
like what the direction to take, and it felt so bubbly, like too much for me. But then when I transitioned to psychology, all like I could sense the shift in energy. Well, like I could sense that depressive feeling was like too close to home, so I felt like more in my comfort zone. Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, um, now that I'm finishing my studies, I would love to do something that brings me genuine joy, and yeah, that's yeah.
We're in sync.
Yes.
Yeah, we're totally in sync. You know, I think that that's what I'm doing as well. Just
Mm-hmm.
focusing on joy, like what brings you joy, and also creating like
Yeah,
what wants to be created out of me, you know.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then
Um,
like career, I feel like the career, like it will kind of come once
mm-hmm.
I root myself there, you know.
Yeah, same. I mean, that's the reason why I volunteered for Teal so many times. Like, I feel like that's something that aligns with what I want to do in life, even if now I cannot really give like a clear picture. Like, I cannot really describe what I do, like why I do certain things, but I feel that I will need that experience. So
Mm-hmm.
even if, uh, of course, I would like things to be more linear, but I just want everything to be brought into the picture, like in
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it's not linear, and I we were trained to think that way, but it's really not. And then when you try to do that, it doesn't work. Especially for me, I realized like, yeah, I mean, everything I've done has still helped me, um,
Yeah,
but it never went the way that I thought it would. All
yeah,
the exact ideas I would have, like no, none of them worked out, which is fine. Like I tried, but I that's why like it's like you shift the way you're living, like having needing to have it all planned out and mapped out, like, and now it's kind of like you just take the next mile, and you don't know what the exits are. You're getting to them and you're figuring it out.
yeah. I mean, it's cool how the universe always wants us to realign with our purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could do things in a linear way, but then you have like Saturn return, Chiron return, and all of like these events, they basically like they make you how do you say like they make everything crumble. Um, and you have to have an honest conversation with yourself of to realize what were the inauthentic parts of your life and how you can realign with your actual desires. Yeah. So yeah, it's better to have like many midlife crises instead of one huge one that will just make people around you suffer, because now maybe you have to leave your wife and children because you don't fully you don't, because the life that you built was inauthentic. So
Yeah. And then someone, a good friend yesterday reminded me that the highest frequency is authenticity.
yeah,
And he
yeah,
doesn't follow Teal because I'm pretty sure I heard that from her, but he heard this somewhere else. And he reminded me of that. And I was just, it's very eye opening. Like, wow, okay, authenticity, that's the highest it gets.
yeah, it's crazy, and yeah, I feel bad when I still make the mistake of not being authentic, and I still do it, and it just gets worse all the time whenever I'm not completely authentic, because when you're not used to do this kind of internal work, you can just brush it off. But when you're like committed to it and you make that mistake, oh my God, it hurts so much, and the consequences seem so much worse.
Mm. I know what you mean. That something I'm trying to do right now, like in therapy, is like my therapist tells me like to give myself compassion because
Mm,
I feel like I'm always like trying so hard to like improve myself, and um so that now I'm like, okay, let's bring it back to like just like telling yourself like you're doing a great job, you know?
yeah, yeah. It's great that you mentioned therapy now, because I will need to start therapy soon as well, because
Yeah.
apparently I got like this grief thing,
Mm-hmm.
uh, which was mentioned more than once already, that I have like this grief that has become like a filter through which I see the world. Um, so I
Yeah.
think that would be great. And for how long have you been having therapy?
So I did take a break, and so okay, originally I was my first therapist. I was with her for 4 years, and then she ended up moving to Canada, and I took a break. And now, when I started I think I started about 10 months ago, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
This year, I would say like, yeah, I can't keep total track, but almost a year, not quite. But I was reluctant. I wanted to tell myself I didn't need therapy anymore, but I knew I was going through a transition in my life. And
Mm-hmm.
so I wanted to get a therapist to support me to complete that transition,
Right.
and to commit. And yeah, she helped me through that. And now we are working on, like you said, um, I would say grief. Yeah, processing it, like releasing it, and you know that I now I know that's so good for me. Like when I started, I was embarrassed if I was crying or something. And
Mm-hmm.
now it's just like if I'm crying, there's still a little bit of reluctance at first, but it's like once it comes out, it's just like okay, just let it come out and don't judge yourself, and you know, because it wants to come out. It's that energy that wants to be released.
Right. Yes. Yeah, I think many of us need a lot of therapy.
Oh yeah.
Like, yeah, it's crazy. And um, yeah, like I also meet like great people. I mean, I meet really great people, but I see that they are carrying this heaviness inside of them of something that hasn't been processed. So yeah, like the inner child work, for example, that's like these kind of tools they need to get, they need to be given to everyone, in my opinion. Um, because yeah, I think the world would be a much better place if we all had this openness towards using these tools. And yeah, so we need to admit that we have the issues first. Um, and yeah, I can't wait to start actually. I can't wait to just be like, yeah, here it is, all of me.
Yeah, and I'm, you know, I've had anxiety kind of probably for a really long time. I've healed it a lot, but it's still there. And
Mm,
when I have therapy, I do feel some anxiety on that day,
mm-hmm.
and I on you know I'm like, oh, I don't feel like doing that like today. What am I going to talk about? Like these feelings come up, my resistance, you know.
Yeah,
But then I'm noticing it now, and I'm kind of like I'm going to try to like flip that script in my brain that is
yeah,
resistant because like you don't. I tell myself like you don't need to know what you're going to talk about. Like you shouldn't plan out what you're going. If you have something on your mind that you know that's fine, but you don't need to try to like force it, right?
yeah, yeah. Somebody told me once that this person changed the concept of anxiety in excitement. So like
Um,
anxiety, just relabel it with excitement.
yeah,
So
I've heard that
yeah,
too.
like yeah, I love it actually. I love it because I would I would be the most anxious person ever. Like when I was younger, like I was super anxious, so crazy how much torture I felt inside. And yeah, which was the reason why I wanted to cope with it so often, so much.
Oh.
But
Mhm.
um,
Mhm.
but yeah, now I'm aware it's there. I know that I will not get rid of it
Mhm.
completely. I'm okay with
Mhm.
having it at this moment. I feel like I have less compared to before because now I'm like scheduling things will that will bring more like peace and grounding and more like
Mhm.
excitement, joy to my life. So I don't have like these complete sense of void inside, which creates all this anxiety.
Mhm.
And yeah, I feel like now I feel much better than before. Um, and I forgot what I wanted to say about this, but um, yeah. And I think it can also be a good tool for um, like I love the idea of using anxiety to um, let's say to make like better like interior design choices. Like for instance, someone I met recently was telling me about um, this concept of how's it called? Um, it's like a Chinese method of decorating the house.
Oh
Uh,
yes, feng shui.
yeah, that one, that one. Um, because apparently, like there is a system which we can use in order to um, decorate the house, right? You put the bed in a certain spot, you don't put it right next to the door, you don't put it in front of the door. It has to, you know, like everything has to follow a certain like reasoning behind it. And um, yeah, I just started paying more attention to all of this because I feel like if the environment is done in a proper way, you're also less, you also end up having less anxiety in general. Um, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've been wanting to learn more about that as well too. Just trying not to have clutter and unnecessary things that stresses you out.
Yeah,
Um, and I
yeah,
feel
yeah.
like another really good one is breath, right?
Breath,
Like because
yes,
we're so like
exactly.
not in our bodies and we're so dissociated, we forget the very life force energy that is,
Yeah,
you know, happening all the time. But yeah, like I have to constantly, it's, I think, I don't know if it's just anxiety or if it's normal, but I have to tell myself to like take deep breaths. Just kind of like when I think about it, I'm like, okay, like really take a good breath in, you know,
yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
we're kind of breathing so shallow all the time.
Yes, yes, and such a basic and boring thing to think of, like, but it actually changes everything when you breathe properly. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard someone say like to take like at least, I'm trying to think, like I don't know if it was 10 or like 20, I don't know, but to maybe start with 10, like if you take like 10 like big deep breaths in like per day, like something like just start like small like that, like you'll already notice a difference, which
Yeah,
I yeah, it just grounds you.
yes, yes. It grounds you if you're up in the air, and um it puts you, and also it makes you more in touch with like the spiritual realm if you're too grounded. Like that's the cool thing about breath, about
Mm.
breathing. Like it really does balance things out.
Awesome. Well, I think we should wrap it up pretty soon.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Are you ready to go? Anything else on your mind?
Uh, yeah, so I was curious about microdosing.
Yeah, yeah, let's talk about that. Okay. So I have been microdosing a mushroom that a lot of people believe are poisonous. It is the mushroom from like Super Mario. Um, it's called Amanita muscaria, the red one with the white dots. And
Okay.
so for me, like they found me. I kind of lined up with them. I didn't go
How
searching for them.
how did you
let's
end up
let
with that?
well, let's just say they started growing in a spot like right in front of me that was just like so. I feel like once I saw it, like I was very interested in it. I didn't know much about it. I also something like drew me towards it. Like I almost felt like it was calling me. And
Wow.
yeah, and all of a sudden I just dove into the research and I just started trying to find information. And I learned that well, first of all, this mushroom was used a long time ago.
Mhm.
And it's sort of, that's what Christmas is sort of based off of anyways, like why it's red and white. And they say the
Mm.
reindeer fly because the reindeer
Mhm.
used to eat the mushrooms and they would like dance
Really?
around and just be really happy. Yeah, so
Oh
they would
my
say the
God.
reindeer are flying. Yeah,
Wow.
and it was really cold as well. And back then, they actually did get around by a sleigh being pulled by reindeer, and they would have to wear
Uh-huh.
a big fur coat for the cold. So
Oh.
Christmas
Yeah.
is basically based off this mushroom, and
Oh
we
my
just
God.
have that knowledge.
I
Um,
love
oh,
it.
and also they'd have to go in through the chimney sometimes because they couldn't get in through the front door because it was
Oh
snowed
my
in.
God.
Well, I know what to do for Christmas now.
Right. So yeah, I just wanted to give you the history on that's how far back it goes.
Mhm.
And so our ancestors used to use this mushroom in ceremony with each other and just like they would boil the mushrooms in water and they would drink the water and get drunk. That's what they
Oh
thought
my
they were doing.
God.
They thought they were getting drunk. And so let me be clear, you're not supposed to eat this mushroom like psilocybin mushrooms because
Mm.
every single cap has a different dose and you don't know how much. It can be a tiny one and it can have up to 600% more than a large one. You
Oh.
just don't know.
Oh.
So what you do, you don't eat them. First you dry them out and then you take all the different caps and you kind of put them together to sort of um, prevent like getting too high of a dose. And
Okay.
then you boil them into a tea. But when you're heating them and boiling them, you're converting the chemical properties. Because
Mm.
if you were to just eat this mushroom raw, you're going to get sick.
Oh.
And I think only maybe one person has ever died from this mushroom. But like I said, they are dangerous. You have to really do your research before.
Yeah.
Um, but anyway, I became obsessed. I found out what to do the proper way, and so you also want to microdose this mushroom. You don't want to just go and take a huge dose. It's better to slowly introduce it into your system. So I
Yeah.
started off just taking very small, half a teaspoon. Now I'm taking like a teaspoon, and
Oh, okay.
yeah. And the best thing I can tell you is that it does help anxiety, it does help focus, it does help depression, it does help productivity, and it makes your heart feel extremely open.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so that's been my experience. And this has only been for, I think I started a few weeks ago. And
Mhm.
I've taken days off. But yeah, but so far I have been noticing the benefits, and it's just it's a feeling of well-being.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, feeling of well-being, which should be normal.
Yes, it's like you notice, like, why don't I feel this way normally? And it's because of our anxiety and things like that. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like a breath of fresh air,
Yeah.
to have those feelings really just not be at the surface.
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy how different this state is, like compared to when you're like lucid. Like it's crazy, it's crazily drastically different, and that's sad because we should be more in frequency, in line with that kind of frequency, of open heart, of just
Hmm.
general feeling good about yourself, not high, but like just
Yeah.
feeling yourself. and and yeah, I wonder if I can align with any mushroom as well.
Yeah, and to be clear, I'm using it as a medicine.
Yeah.
I'm not using it as recreation.
Yeah.
And I think I really believe that all the medicines, maybe not all, but I think a majority of the medicines we need are herbs and plants and
Oh, yeah.
fruit, since mushroom is like fruit kind of. Um, so, there's so many ways that we can heal ourselves. And I
Mm-hmm.
believe that's why the information has been suppressed and it's been illegal. These mushrooms are not illegal actually, which is nice
Yeah.
because
Oh.
everyone is just afraid of them and misinformed. But
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, that's one cool thing. They're not illegal. Well, in most places, I think there are a couple places where they are. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but we're going to see medicine change. Like it's already changing. They're already starting to allow mushrooms in certain settings for therapy and MDMA and things like this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I will be there as well. When I become a therapist, I will make sure that they use the proper tools.
Maybe when we're older, we could like team up and have like a practice. Imagine, you never know.
Yeah, 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 definitely. The world needs more of this. Um, Open hearts. We need to open our hearts. So
Yeah, and you don't realize that it wasn't open like
yeah,
until you realize how different it
right?
is when you actually are coming from your heart and living from your heart, and then you see such a drastic. It's just effortless, and it feels so like so natural, like you said, and
Yeah.
um, it's your natural state. Like I just noticed I was being well. The first thing I noticed was lack of anxiety. The second thing I noticed was I was the way I was reacting or responding to people was so much more loving. It's
Yes. Oh,
like I genuinely like I love this stranger for no reason.
yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Yeah.
just because. Just because they're
Oh,
they're a human and I just have compassion for them automatically, naturally, just
yeah.
so it is a very it's lovely. There's nothing wrong
Yeah.
about
Yeah, yeah, yeah. For me, it's also really crazy when I noticed it, and now for me, it's easier to notice it in other people when their
it.
heart is not open,
Oh
and
yeah.
and yeah, you just rationalize everything, but you see that like you see in their eyes that they're suffering, and they
Mm.
all what they need is just like a warm hug, like a reassuring warmth.
Hmm.
And once once they have that, it's
Hmm.
like they calm down and they come back to their senses. So that's what I needed, and that's what now I see like in other people as well. Like they it's just warmth, because otherwise you're like tense and you make up all these like mental conclusions about the world, about how it works, but all you need is just like, like that cozy feeling inside. So that's my
Yeah,
favorite thing.
and then you will also feel absolutely whole because you're generating that feeling from inside. And
Yeah.
so,
Oh, yeah.
you're not trying to get it from anybody else. It's
Yeah.
just naturally just like radiating and like emitting from you, and you just feel so full. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it's really beautiful. Like, yeah, it's really beautiful and in line also with the name of your podcast.
Um,
Yeah. Well, um, yes, I hope more people come to realize this. Because all we need is actually just like a warm feeling inside.
Mhm.
If we're not warm inside, it's going to be a torture living.
Yeah, I've So mushrooms were the first plant medicine, well, besides marijuana, that I used, and I I think you know, I'm very interested in plant medicine, and I know, like, I personally, I love being a guinea pig and experimenting on myself. So I'll keep doing that and just keep like sharing what I learn with people, and I hope people will start using plants as medicine and not be so afraid of them more in the future.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm also curious to try some plant medicine in the future. I don't know if to look for them here in Europe or to travel to South America.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like for example, how's it called? Gambo?
Yeah.
I would love to try that. Also ayahuasca, but just like twice max. Like I
Yeah,
don't
I
want.
want I want to do Aya. It's going to be extremely uncomfortable, but it will be once you come out on the other side, it will have done a lot of healing, helped you do a
Yeah.
lot of healing. So yeah, I think that's probably the next one I'll try. Unless something else comes
Mm,
first. So
mm,
we'll see.
mm. Yeah, I'll see. Can't wait. Can't
Well,
wait to experience.
thank you for taking your time today to meet with me. I really appreciate it. I'm glad
Thank
that we
you.
got to catch up.
Thank you for hosting me. Thank you very much, Lynette.
Of course, I feel more grounded now. Do
Oh,
you?
really? Me too. Me too. Oh,
Nice, nice. And
yeah.
I'll just point out the synchronicity too, you guys. Me and Vlada are matching. We
Yeah.
just so happen to just both be wearing like a very similar shirt, so we're on the same wavelength for sure.
Right? Right. Lovely. I really love it. Thank you.
Okay, well, I'll let you go, and I hope you go have some fun in Paris and enjoy your time there. And yeah, I will talk to you later.
Yes. Talk to you later.
Bye, everybody. Love you.
Bye.
Love you guys.
Bye.
Bye. I was not kidding. I knew a freaking tree fell. It was a tree, and I think it knocked over a plank from my oh, it did. Okay, this is why I was so freaked out. Okay, check it out. This branch fell from this tree, I think, because of the rain, and it knocked down that plank, which is oh, I love that shed, which is a loud noise I heard.